And the weather report today calls for heavy blood storms across the UK, and in America you'll be looking at 8 to 12 inches of Nazis at the centre of the earth. Hello YouTube, I'm Darkest101 and welcome to our month with the Asylum. Last week we had a look at their now cult film, because let's be honest, Sharknado is now a cult film. So this week we're going to have a look at something a little bit more unknown in their repertoire. Bloodstorm. Asylum have some weird names for movies, don't they? No, I'm not talking about Sharknado or perhaps the ever more impressively titled Stonado. Yes, that is a thing. No, I'm not going to review it this month. Or maybe the insane title of Hansel vs. Gretel. By far, the strangest Asylum title is the one we have a look at today. The movie Bloodstorm. Now, you might be thinking that the title of Bloodstorm is nowhere near as silly or goofy as Sharknado or Hansel vs. Gretel or Scarecrow Slayer or something like that. But that's only the title that was given in the UK. In the Americas, it was literally known as Nazis at the Center of the Earth. Nazis at the Center of the Earth. That's actually what this movie is called. And somehow we didn't let it be called that over in the UK. Why exactly it would have sold so many more fucking copies? What madness was it that led them to call the movie something as generic and forgettable as Bloodstorm? Seriously, you'd remember seeing a poster for a film called Nazis at the Center of the Earth. Even if all you did about it was complain about how the movie offended you on that forum, like... Just so we can set the record straight, that was your official trigger warning there, folks. I mean, I know this is an Asylum movie, I know it's goofy fun times, but this movie goes into some fucked up places at times, okay? So I'm gonna put some, like, trigger warnings down in the description, and if anything there is, like, gonna set you off, then your discretion is advised, okay? I'm genuinely being serious here, guys. This is a fucked up movie. The film begins with an actually well-shot sequence where Nazi scientist Josef Mengele, who was a real Nazi physician at Auschwitz, bit on the nose, don't you think there, Asylum? Anyway, Mengele boards a plane departing from Germany with a mysterious canister in tow, as the Allied forces attempt to stop them. That fails, Mengele gets away, as we cut to present day to Nippolon Research Station in Antarctica. I know it's like Nefelton Station, but the way they pronounce it, I'm just gonna keep calling it Nippolon. So a pair of scientists by the name of Mark and Page are out by a new drill thing in the middle of the tundra, and they're on the radio back to their friend at Nippolon. And when I say friend, this girl May, who's on the radio, is someone Mark blatantly tries to ask out, and she friend zones him so hard. Like, this is weapons grade friend zoning right here.
Hey May, when I get back, do you maybe want to share a cup of coffee?
Yeah, like we do as our usual routine. Over.
Right. Like usual.
You might be wondering if these are the actual characters' names, and for the most part they are. There are one or two, and I genuinely mean one or two characters, whose names I genuinely did forget, mainly because I can't remember ever getting one from the cast. But aside from these one or two instances, I can remember all of the characters' names. And that's because, despite the fact that this is an Asylum film, despite some bad acting here or there and some special effects that look like they belong from a PS2 cutscene, this movie is actually kind of good. And I don't mean in a so bad it's good kind of way, I mean in a genuinely it's good kind of way. I mean, yes, there is some Asylum goofiness here and there, but in a strange way, the Asylum goofiness only complements how good the genuinely good parts of the movie are, rather than detract from them. It's strange. However, trouble is afoot as Mark and Page are kidnapped suddenly by Nazi stormtroopers who are totally not dressed for the cold. The guys back at Nippolon realise that the two have been kidnapped and head out to try and find them. Yes, head out into the frozen wasteland that is the Antarctic tundra for the two people that have gone missing. I'm sure you'll be back in time for cookies and hot chocolate. In the meantime, Paige and Mark have been separated inside whatever the fuck Nazi base has been set up under the permafrost. Paige has been left in a room with the worst security ever, like with no restraints, no security, nothing. Fucking brilliant. And Mark is being attended to by Mengele. And this scene shows off one of this movie's most brilliant assets. It is an incredibly tense watch at times. This movie is a goofy asylum flick in some parts, but other times it is an incredibly tense, claustrophobic, uncomfortable and unnerving horror film. I mean, I know Mark's acting isn't the best, but even here, where he's just pleading with Mengele, it just feels so tense. I think part of the main reason for that is the way that the movie draws out certain actions so that we know what's going to happen to certain characters before it actually happens, and we're just on the edge of our seat until the payoff actually occurs. Even here, with Mark and Mengele, we can already tell what Mengele's planning, we can already see what he's attempting to do, and it just draws it out for as long as possible in an incredibly tense scene as we wait for Mengele to cut Mark's face off. And speaking of cutting, they're probably going to do that cliche horror thing, you know, where Mengele begins pulling off Mark's face, but they cut away before you see what's actually underneath. You know, it's a cliche horror thing. I'm sure they'll adhere to it here. Jesus fucking Christ! I'm not a fan of body horror and gore by any means. I'm a squeamish son of a bitch, I'll admit that. I mean, over the top and batshit insane gore I can handle, but this is surgical. This is precise. This is the kind of gore that's grounded in reality, and it fucking freaks me out to no end. So, just so you know, I do not fucking like this scene. This isn't what makes this film as disturbing as I mentioned earlier, however. I mean, this kind of gore isn't really horror, you know? It gets a reaction, sure, but that's not scary. It's achieving a reaction through shock and disgust rather than being mentally disturbing. I mean, I know it's not senseless gore because it works in context of the film. I just feel like it has to be put out there. The rest of the team from Nippon follow the drag marks the stormtroopers left behind to a cavern in the ice and parasail down. Meanwhile, Paige manages to escape her cell using a fork somehow. Okay, fair enough, just going to ignore that. And the fact she manages to walk around without being captured or seen, or the fact she just finds Mark with his face back on. Didn't we see Mark get his face ripped off?
Help me, please.
Oh Jesus Christ, that is fucked up. They fucking flay him, they pull off all his skin, and they put it on another body? Holy fucking shit, dude! Still think I was kidding when I said this movie was fucked up? Paige is then recaptured and put on the operating table, but she plays nice with Mengele by giving him medical information to help his men, who are actually rotting, by the way. They're not zombies, they just have the flesh and organs of other men and women grafted onto their bodies. Nice. And this is going on just as the Nippon team have managed to reach the centre of the earth. Their copyright strike from Jules Verne would be in the mail if he was still alive. And then they get kidnapped by the Nazis. Adrian is apparently in league with Mengele, supplying him with a constant stream of Nippon staff for 10 years to keep Mengele and his men alive. They also have laser guns apparently. Paige then appears after having been turned to the dark side, and the group are taken into the facility to provide medical support for Mengele's team. And this is the most claustrophobic part of the movie. Our main cast are surrounded by armed soldiers wearing dead men's flesh, for fuck's sake. And then we get the shower scene. It's literally all I can call it. Mengele orders the girls to be taken away to the showers where they are split up again. CG, Adrian's girlfriend, is taken away by Adrian. May is taken away to the chopping block. And then Angela is... Oh, don't make me talk about it. Look, she is alone in the showers with a bunch of dudes. Please don't make me spell it out. Adrian, CG and Mengele then use some of the cells from May's brainstem on the weird canister Mengele took from Germany at the start of the movie. It doesn't work, and CG then reveals to Adrian that she's pregnant. Oh my god, movie, please, don't, I know what you, please, don't do what I think you're gonna do.
Adrian, please.
movie? You want me to continue reviewing you? You return to some Asylum goofiness right this instant. Okay, some awfully crappy Asylum CGI, I guess I can get behind that. You're fucking kidding me. Ladies and gentlemen, Asylum has actually brought us Mecha-Hitler. I wish I was making that up. I wish I was making that up. But no, this movie has literally given us Mecha-Hitler. This is just the kind of Asylum bullshit that makes the film watchable again, especially considering how their underground Nazi base turns into a fucking UFO, complete with a giant throne for Hitler to sit in like he's fucking King Cold from Dragon Ball Z. Mengeler's body then starts to rapidly fall apart, and he and Paige begin cutting up Moss for his body. What Mengele does, Paige just kills Mengele and saves Moss, and the two of them go after Brian, their last surviving friend, who's under guard from the Nazi with Mark's face, which Moss takes issue with.
This isn't yours.
Okay, that was this movie's one genuinely badass moment. Gotta admit it when it's there. Speaking of Mark, they go to rescue him, but let's just say room service in this facility costs an arm and a leg. So he asks for the logical thing in his position and actually begs his friends for death. Jesus Christ, this movie is fucked up. And then things happen very fast and the UFO crashes. The last act of this movie is just full of Asylum randomness, but not like memorable randomness. They just throw everything at the wall to make a big climax that ends up with Moss injecting Hitler with flesh-eating bacteria, and then him proposing to Paige, because that romance was very well established. End film. The last act of this movie, I think Asylum was pretty much just going, we gave you Mecha-Hitler and a Nazi UFO, what more do you want? While the last act may go by a little haphazardly, there's no denying that the rest of the film is the best combination of genuine claustrophobic horror film and Asylum madness. I mean, there are some scenes that kind of push it as far as my personal triggers go, and the whole Mecha-Hitler and Joseph Mengele thing might be a little too close to the knuckle for some people. Going into this, I thought this might just be another generic Nazi zombie film, so hey, it's nice to be surprised in that regard. I mean, in another sense, this film is fucked beyond relief, so hey, it's kind of a mixed bag in all sorts of scenarios. Bloodstorm is a rare occurrence on Darkest101 reviews where I say you have to temper your sense of decency and expectation. I mean, I did say early on that it was good, and not in the so bad it's good way, it's genuinely good. But it's still not a movie I'd recommend for anything other than a Halloween watch list, and that's still only for maybe hardcore horror fans. But all in all, I think Bloodstorm's worthy of a dark rating of 60.
Target is covered in Nazi swastikas. I'm calling it hostile.
And that was week 2 of our month with the Asylum. Stay tuned, as next week we'll be having a look at Mega Shark vs Giant Octopus. I cannot tell you how long I've been waiting for this. But anyway, if you have a suggestion for a future review, please drop it in the comment section below. I am desperately looking for stuff to review for Christmas, okay? And as always, I've been Darkest101. You have been watching Darkest101 Reviews. Thanks for watching. Good night, YouTube.